Sometimes we come in on Sunday and we raise our hands and we put on our smile and we put on, all of this deal, and it's just like, I'm great, I'm okay, I'm close to God. When really, honestly, you need to get to the place where you let go of me and grab a hold of God and hit your knees and confess to Him that your life is not okay, that junk is tough. Jacob, the very first time we start hearing about Jacob, it was actually, before he was even born. And we're going to go backwards into chapter 25, and we'll read a few verses there. It says, Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. And the Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. The babies jostled, or they wrestled with each other, even inside the womb. Now, this is significant. It's very significant. And she said, why is this happening to me? So she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you will be separated. See, there was already a conflict going on, but even before birth. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. And when the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. And the first came out, was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment, so they named him Esau. After this, his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to him. Before Jacob is even born, there's a conflict going on. Before he ever takes his first breath, before life even truly, outside of the womb begins, there is a conflict going on in his life. Have you ever thought that maybe that's how it is in life before a dream is born in your life? Let's take this spiritual just a little bit. Before a dream is born in your life, before a plan, a God-given plan happens in your life, that there possibly is this conflict that is already stirring inside of you. Something that we battle against in these thoughts and these feelings, this inner struggle, what's happening, what's going on. And so she knew this as the mom, that something was going on. And here's a big deal, and this is kind of a side note in an extra sermon. So she took it to the Lord. She took the conflict to the Lord. She didn't take it to her friend's house. She didn't take it to her women's group down the street. She didn't take it to her gossip buddies. In more real life days today, she didn't take it to Facebook, and she didn't take it to Twitter. She took it to God. So many times today, we take our conflicts and our issues to places they were never meant to go. And we involve people that were never meant to be involved. Think before you type. You better pray before you post. I can't tell you the times that I have spent minutes typing out a response or typing out a post to have my wife say, "You sure you want to send that? You sure you want to post that?" And I read it, and I'm like, yes, but I'm not going to. I don't waste them, though. I save them and copy them and paste them, and I put them in my blog notes. Because someday, you never know, I might preach on it. Once again, I'm not coming down on social media. I use it a lot. In fact, we work on it a lot. We connect with it a lot. We communicate with it a lot. But there are certain things that are meant to stay between you and God, or you and your family, or between you and the person that you have a conflict with. If you have a problem with somebody, let's do what the Bible says and go to that person. Off soapbox. Most of the time people, because when we go to people, listen, when we go to people with stuff, they're going to tell us what we want to hear because we're going to select who we go to, right? Don't we usually go to the people that we know are going to talk to us the way that we want them to talk to us? I mean, we're not dummies. And they're going to feed into us exactly what we want to be fed into us. Sometimes we just need to stop long enough in the middle of the conflict to listen to the one that guides us through the conflict. So Jacob was born trying to get ahead. He was born trying to get ahead. He was trying to be first, the most important. Now, this is significant in this life, especially in his life, and back in these days especially, because the firstborn is the one that received, the greatest, inheritance. They were the firstborn. They got the best. They got, the biggest blessing. They got the birthright. They got all of this stuff, and even at birth. I mean, it's significant that Jacob's trying to grab the heel of his brother, and in essence, trying to keep him from being first. That was the conflict in Jacob's life from day one. Him wanting to be first. A me first mentality. And honestly, we're all born with this. Every single one of us. Think about this. When a baby is born and when a child is born and when they begin to grow up, you never have to teach a child how to say mine. It is learned. It is in them. You don't have to teach them how to be concerned about me or my toy or my game or my this or my that. It just happens one day. Now we have to teach them how to say please. We have to teach them how to say thank you. At least we should be doing that. Seems like that's a lost art to teach manners and stuff anymore. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I mean, it just is. But you don't have to teach them about me, about mine. It is something that is inside of us. We live in a me-first culture. And we all subconsciously strive to be recognized. We don't always take pride in a particular possession, but we do take pride in having more of that possession than someone else. We want to be thinner. We want to be smarter. We want to be better. So here's a question, and this is something for us to think about over the next few weeks. How can we have a God-first focus in a me-first world? I mean, think about this, and be real when you think about this over the next few weeks. How can we have a God-first focus in a me-first world? Because everything that we see, everything that we hear, every commercial, I don't care what it is me first. It is based on me. What can I do for me? How can I make me better? How can I get ahead? It's based on heel grabbing is what it's based on. It's based on trying to do whatever it takes to get ahead so I can be the better person. Is it even possible? Because everything the world says and throws at us is me first. Can we truly seek first the kingdom of God? Trying to be number one. But now Jesus kind of puts a twist in this. When he's talking to his disciples in Matthew chapter 19, he says, "But many who are first will be last, and many who are last will be first." It throws a kink in that already ingrained in us, selfish, selfie kind of, attitude. He's saying, wait a minute. If you're working so hard to be first, you're going to end up being last. When it becomes all about you, you're going to end up finding your place exactly where that's going to end up, because it's not all about you, and it's not all about, and he is in no way saying don't take care of yourself. He's in no way saying don't make me important, but don't get me out of the equation that I created. Because when that happens, the upward and the outward relationships cease to exist the way they were created to exist. It's not all about loving God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. It's not about loving others the way that we want to be loved. It becomes about me getting ahead. It becomes about me being in control. It becomes about me, knowing a little bit more than God and loving myself a little bit more than others. And that's backwards to what Jesus is teaching. We spend all our life grabbing heels and trying to live the me first mentality, getting offended when it doesn't go our way or it doesn't fit our life. And I promise you that living a me first mentality leads to misery. It leads to a miserable life trapped inside of ourselves. The first is last and the last is first. Jesus also said in Luke chapter 9, verse 25, he said, what good is it to gain the whole world? He said, what good is it to get all of this stuff and to have all of this stuff and to gain everything that you need and yet lose or forfeit your very self? What good is it to grab heels all of your life and then just lose who you are, who you were created to be? Who am I created to be? But see, now the world wants us to chase after it, and it says, hey, I've got the best. We go after all this stuff, what I want for me. Even our status is online. Sometimes it's me. The focus on me, and we chase and we chase and we chase after all of this stuff, and we end up with nothing, and we're left to be empty and lonely, and we lose ourselves. And honestly, this is where God wants us to be. When we completely get to that place to where we lose ourselves, He can begin to show us who we really are. It's at that place where we're so broken. It's at that place where we're so lost. It's at that place to where we don't have anything else to grab a hold of but Him. And that's where He will show up, and He will show us exactly who He is. Me first doesn't work. Jacob comes out grabbing heels, but regardless of what he attempted, he was still born second. He was still the second-born son. So Jacob, which means heel grabber, and it also means deceiver. Okay, he's a mama's boy. He is born a mama's boy, living in the tents in the city. Esau was a man's man. He was a hunter, and on it, I mean, that's just who he was. You look at Esau and this big old red-headed hairy thing, and he goes out and he hunts and he kills his meat and he feeds his family while Jacob kind of sits back all pretty boyish and just kind of lets everything happen around him and gets things handed to him. And once again, he's a mama's boy. Mama takes care of him, wants the best for him. And Jacob, the deceiver, he ends up deceiving Esau out of both his birthright and his blessing. We'll talk about that in just a second. When you're centered on yourself in life, it's never enough. C.S. Lewis, he said this: we don't actually take pride in having the possession itself, but having more of it than someone else. Let me say that again. We don't actually take pride in having the possession itself, but having more of it than someone else. So it's not enough just to be smart. We have to be smarter. It's not enough just to be thin. We have to be thinner. It's not enough just to be ripped. We have to be rippeder. Adam. It's not enough just to be rich. We have to be richer. See, it's not enough just to have that. We got to have more of that. It wasn't enough for Jacob to be who he was. He had to be better. And it wasn't enough that Jacob deceived Esau out of his birthright. He had to get the blessing too. So Isaac, Jacob's dad, was so old that he couldn't see. He got to this place where he was just so frail, and it was time for him to give his blessing to his firstborn, who was Esau. But first Isaac tells Esau, he says, go out and kill us something to eat and bring it back and feed me. And then as soon as I eat, I will give you my blessing. So Rebekah, Jacob's mom, she overhears this conversation. And so she goes to Jacob and she says, Jacob, this is how we're going to do it. You can get the blessing too. Your father's told Esau to go hunting, and he's going to be gone for a little while. So let's dress you up, and we're going to go in, and we're going to get some of Esau's clothes, and we're going to make you be him because your father can't see you anyways, and you're going to go in, and you're going to trick him, and you're going to get this blessing. He won't know the difference. And in Genesis chapter 27, let me read the story to you. Starting in verse 15, then Rebekah took the best clothes of Esau, her older son, which she had in the house, and put them on her younger son, Jacob. By the way, this is kind of weird. As I was listening to Stephen Furtick talk about this online last week. He kind of made this reference, and I thought this was really cool. And I think somewhere Jacob was around 76 years old when his mama was dressing him. That's strange in itself. Talk about a mama's boy, okay? I mean, and I say that just to get your picture of who this guy is in this moment right now, okay? Right now. Then she also covered his hands and the smooth part of his neck with the goat skins. That was to make him feel hairy like his brother Esau. Then she handed to her son Jacob the tasty food and bread she had made. And he went to his father and said, "My father." "Yes, my son," he answered. "Who is it?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you have told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game so that you may give me your blessing." Isaac asked his son, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" "The Lord your God gave me success," he replied. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Come near so I can touch you, my son, to know whether you really are my son Esau or not." By the way, you know you can get so good at pretending to be someone else that the people closest to you will not even know who you are. You can get so good at pretending to be somebody else that the people closest to you won't even know who you are. I mean, we're good at it. We're good at putting the masks on and the facades on, and we're good at being somebody that we want someone else to see. We're good at being that person that we want to be, not necessarily the person who we were created to be. So we pick it back up in verse 22. Jacob went close to his father Isaac, who touched him and said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He didn't recognize him, for his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau, so he proceeded to bless him. But now what Jacob and his mama didn't count on was Esau came home. And when Esau came home, he was ticked off because he had been deceived yet again. And something that was meant for him in his life was given to somebody else. See, Jacob got done what he wanted to get done. Jacob received the blessing that he deceived his brother out of and deceived his father to get. But he spent the next 21 years running for his life because his brother wanted to kill him. He spent the next 21 years not being able to live in the blessing that he worked so hard to get, that he thought so bad that he needed. Think about that. Man, to me, that is just amazing. You know it's possible to get what you want and then not want what you got? You know it's possible to get what you want and not want, once you get it, not want what you got. Because I'm sure when Jacob thought he got this blessing, it was going to be awesome. He was going to have the best of the best and live the life of the life. And you know, the best food, the best treatment, the best money, the best this, the best that. And once he got it, he wasn't even able to live in the blessing. Once he got what he thought he wanted, he couldn't even enjoy what he wanted. He couldn't live in the blessing. So let me share the focal point of this series. God cannot bless who you pretend to be. If you're writing stuff down, you need to write this down. God cannot bless who you pretend to be. Why? Because if we're pretending to be somebody other than the person that He created, how is He going to bless that? Now, yes, in our lives, sometimes we change and we grow, but you know what? Those types of changes and those types of growth, that comes from God. But when it comes from deception, or when it comes for being somebody that we're not, or putting on the mask, or grabbing at heels, trying to get ahead, He cannot bless that. Now, there may be times, like in Jacob's life, where we think we get the blessing, but then we spend 21 years of our life running for our life and figuring out that what we wanted so bad and the blessing that we thought we had really wasn't a blessing at all. God can't bless Jacob dressed like Esau. And there are so many me's in our life. The me who we are and the me who we want to be. The me you can see, the me that we show, and the me that is real, and the me that sometimes we hide. And we all put on this goat skin, and we try to become someone that we're not, to get a blessing that honestly doesn't count for much. To try to grab a heel, to try to leapfrog, to try to be first, and we outrun God, and we outrun others, and it becomes more about me than it does about what matters. But what good is it to gain the whole world and to lose our very self? What good is the blessing of Isaac if you can't even stay in the house and stay with the family and enjoy it? There's a few young ladies in here today, and I'm just going to speak to this. You know, young ladies, listen to me for just a second. So many young ladies today think they have to dress a certain way and reveal certain things to get a blessing of acceptance, to get a blessing of feeling loved. It's like what culture says. It's what the world says. If you dress this way and if you show this and you reveal this, then you're going to get attention. And you know what? Sometimes it's not even about just young ladies. Sometimes, and I'm just being, sometimes it's just about ladies in general. To get this, to get the looks, to get the glances, to get the, whatever. It's just like you have to do that. Compromising who you are, compromising your values, and giving parts of yourself that were never meant to be given in a way. And when you get called when you get that so-called blessing, you realize it doesn't feel like you thought it would. You thought love was supposed to be different. And can I just tell you that if you're having to dress a certain way and show certain things to get somebody to pay attention to you, and that's messed up. You're bigger than that. You're more important than that. God created you to be more important than that. My daughters are in this room right now, and I speak that to my little girls just as much as I speak to anyone. God created you to be more important than that. You don't have to be grabbing heels trying to be first that way. Be who God created you to be. Or maybe you just go along with all the junk at work, all the jokes, all the language, all the bad attitudes, all the gossip, and you go along with it to fit in. Or maybe you go along with it, maybe just trying to get ahead. Or, if your boss asks you to do something that's just really not quite right, but you do it anyways. You grab at that heel. Why? Because you're wanting to succeed. You're wanting to be first. You're wanting to get to that place to where, I get more, and this is about me. And succeeding is not wrong. Trying to get ahead is not wrong. But compromising who you are is. Deceiving to get the blessing, that is wrong. And you'll end up running for 21 years of your life, not being able to live in the blessing, even if you achieve it. Because you know what? Even if you get that promotion, and even if you get placed in that position of a little bit of authority, you are going to go to bed every single night with the thought in your heart and the thought in your mind that you did not get it the right way. And it is going to eat at you, and it's going to tear at you. And for, however many years, whether it's 21 like Jacob, or maybe for the rest of your life, you're running and not being able to live in the blessing that you thought you wanted, but you didn't get the blessing because you did it in the wrong way. What good is it to fool Isaac and not get to live in the blessing? Because, see, you may fool your friends, but you can't fool yourself. And you may fool your neighbors, but you can't fool God. Because He sees and He knows. He's the one that created you. He's the one that knows who He designed you and created you to be. Jacob got the blessing, but he lost himself. And maybe today there's someone here and you got the blessing, but you're losing yourself. You got the possessions, but you're losing yourself. You got the friends, but you're losing yourself. You got the house and you got the cars and you got the boats and you got the stuff, but you're losing yourself. And what good is it if you gain the whole world? And once again, there's nothing wrong with stuff, but keep the stuff in perspective. God can only bless who you really are, not who we pretend to be. So Jacob decides to go home. And he thinks maybe there can be reconciliation. Maybe, just maybe, Esau will forgive him. And on the way back to meet Esau, he wrestles with God. Now, he doesn't know it's God at first, but he gets in this, this big wrestling match. And now all of Jacob's life, he's been grabbing onto stuff. He tried grabbing onto the heel. He grabbed for the birthright. He grabbed for the blessing. But now in this moment of brokenness, in this moment of really coming to a place, grabs a hold of God. Now, after his hip went out, this is what happened. Verse 26 in chapter 32 of Genesis. The man said, "Let me go, for it's daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go until you bless me." He said, "I will not let you go until you bless me." See, he had come to the place of brokenness. He had come to the place to where he wasn't who he was pretending to be anymore. He had come to the place of where he was. And he grabbed a hold, just like he'd done in his life for the wrong reasons at the wrong time. He was doing it for the right reason now. And he grabbed a hold and he said, "I am not letting go until you bless me." Not going to happen. Jacob found himself holding on. Even it would have been easier to let go. Because see, in our life, in our me life, in our search for what we think is best, it gets tough and it gets hard. But when we decide to let all that go and encounter God for who he really is, we will find ourselves holding on to him when it would be easier just to let go. Come on, let's be honest. How many times have you just said, "You know what, this is too hard. This hurts too much. I just need to let go. God, I know you love me and I know it's good and I'm trying with everything that I can, but this is too much." It's too much. How many times do you see people's lives and they come in, they give their life to God and they experience these radical changes and then all of a sudden, things are just, man, it's supposed to be good and life is good and then the enemy attacks them, right? Because the enemy, his whole purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy, right? And that person gets down and they're like, "Man, I didn't think it was supposed to be this way and this is too hard. I'm getting hit with temptation. I'm getting hit with people talking about me, saying things, hurting me. It hurts too much." And they just walk away. They just let go. Jacob says, "I ain't letting go. I've grabbed for things my whole life, and they've been the wrong things in the wrong way. And right now, I'm trying to do something right, and I'm hanging on until you bless me." Sometimes in life, you just have to decide that you want something bad enough, and you want it for the right reasons, and you have to decide that you're sick of faking it and sick of putting on a show every single Sunday. Sometimes you have to decide that instead of raising your hands to show a crowd you're okay, you need to hit your knees and confess to God that you really aren't. Boy, God spoke that to me this week. Sometimes we come in on Sunday and we raise our hands and we put on our smile and we put on, all of this deal, and it's just like, "I'm great, I'm okay, I'm close to God." When really, honestly, you need to get to the place to where you let go of me and grab a hold of God and hit your knees and confess to him that your life is not okay, that junk is tough, and that you need him and you're going to hang on to him until he blesses you. This is good, but sometimes this is better. This, we experience so much, and I'm a worshiper, you guys know that. But to really find who God wanted you to be, sometimes it takes this. Sometimes it takes putting some stains on the carpet. You don't clean tear stains off a carpet. You don't clean tear stains off an altar. Those matter. God catches them. They mean something to him. And sometimes we got to get to that place to where it's not about me. To where we're not grabbing heels and trying to hang on to get ahead. We're grabbing a hold of God so he can take us to where he created. No more pretending, no more acting, no more lying to yourself and others, no more being somebody that you're not. It's committing to change. It's real and it's important and you're worth it. You're worth it. I don't care this morning if you're sitting in here and you're 12 or 13 or you're 60 or 70. It doesn't matter. You are still worth it. And the me first thing is always going to be a battle in your life. It's always going to be there. What we think is the best for us, what we think is the best for our family, and we get ahead of God when God's saying, man, if you would just slow down, I will show you what is best. I will not go unless you bless me. Jacob was like, man, I've been holding on to heels my whole life to get blessed, but now I'm holding on to the only one who has the power to bless me. So I'm letting go of what people think or what they say. I'm letting go of my past and my problems. I'm letting go of my stuff. I'm letting go of my successes. I'm letting go of my money. I'm letting go of my preconceived ideas. But I'm not letting go of God until He blesses me. Then it gets cool. In the next verse, God says, what's your name? He said, well, why would God not? He created him. Why would? He says, what's your name? You know what's really neat about this? After all that Jacob had done, after all the crazy stuff he had done, after all the wrong heel grabbing and trying to be somebody that he's not, God gives him the opportunity to stand up and say who he is. God gives him an opportunity to once and for all take the mask off. He gives him the opportunity to stop pretending right there in that moment. He says, what's your name? What's your name? Now, we'd heard this before when Jacob went to his dad Isaac, and his dad said, what's your name? And Jacob, the deceiver, said Esau. Remember that? He was pretending, but not now. No pretending, no lying, no deception, no mask, no more grabbing of heels. He simply said, I'm Jacob. He said, I'm Jacob. I'm not Esau. I'm not the person I was trying to be. I'm not the guy that was running for his life for 21 years. I'm not the guy that got the blessing in the wrong way. I'm Jacob. I'm the guy that made all the mistakes. I'm the guy that did everything wrong. I'm the guy that grabbed at heels. I'm Jacob. I'm just Jacob. I'm just Jacob. And then in verse 28, the man says, your name will no longer be Jacob, but your name will be Israel. Because you have struggled with God and with humans, and you have overcome. And you know, once Jacob admitted who he was, God blessed him. God blessed him with a new name, a new identity, an identity that would last forever. He said, no longer will your name be about all that stuff. No longer will your name just be about the heel grabbing. No longer will your name be about just deception. I have a new name. I have a new name. It doesn't matter what name you've given yourself. God can give you a new one, but not until we stop pretending. Not until we stop trying to be somebody that we're not, chasing something that isn't worth it, that costs us our own identity. Some of you today, you need a name change. You need a name change. You need to humble yourself before God. And you just need to simply say, I'm Jacob. I'm not the person I've been. I'm Jacob. And you need to allow God to reach into your life because you matter. Your life, it matters. Jacob got a new name. No longer a heel grabber, a deceiver, but Israel, which means triumphant with God. How awesome is that? Now let me be real for a second. So God gives Jacob this new name, Israel, but you'll notice throughout the rest of Jacob's life that sometimes God calls him Israel and sometimes God calls him Jacob. You would think if God gave him that new name in that moment, that new name would stay with him. But can we just be real for a second? Life's hard. Today, some of you, God's going to give you a new name. And And that name is going to be a part of who you are. But you're going to have to turn around and you're going to have to walk out of these doors and you're going to have to walk out of this amazing presence of God that we feel right now. And you're going to have to walk back into the world that wants to consume you. You're going to have to walk back into the me first society, the me first culture, the me first, Instagrams and Facebooks and Twitters, the me first commercials. You're going to have to walk back into that, and you're going to have to battle. And you know what? There's going to be times that you're going to mess up. There's going to be times when Israel is now Jacob and Jacob is now Israel. But the cool thing about all of this, if you bounce forward into the book of Exodus, into Moses' life, and he stands before God and he says, God, who are you? What is your name? Who are you? The burning bush. Remember that? Who are you? And he says, I am that I am. And he says, I am the God of Abraham. I am the God of Isaac. And I am the God of Jacob. He does not say I'm the God of Israel. He says I am the God of Jacob. I'm the God of the deceiver. I'm the God of the person that messed up and decided to allow me to change their life and become who I created them to be. I am the God of the man who deceived his daddy and who deceived his brother and who took things that he didn't deserve and who ran in the wilderness for 21 years trying to live in something that he never had anyways. I am the God of him. So today, I just speak this to you. God can give you a new name today. Regardless of your past or regardless of your mistakes, He can change your name to Israel today. But you know what? There's still going to be that life of Jacob, but you can have the assurance that God is the life of the messed up too. All the stuff, all the junk, lay it at His feet. Some of you today need to stop this for just a moment and do this. Just be real. And I don't know what the issues are in your life. I know what they are in my life. I know what they are in my life. I know the conflicts that are going on in my life. And I can assure you with everything that's inside of me that I battle them every day and I fight them. And you know what? Most of the time I win, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes, it's just, ugh. But I don't get through that conflict. Listen, worship through the conflicts. I'm not telling you not to. But don't let this become a facade. Don't let this become something just for people to see. Make this about loving on Jesus and about Him loving on you. But control the conflict. Let go of the me. Death to selfie. Death to yourself. Dying to yourself every single day. God knows your struggle. He knows you'll mess up. He knows you will blow it. He knows you will chase the me inside of you. But He is still your God. He loves you and He desires for you to meet Him. Some of you this morning, maybe for the first time. Some of you maybe this morning need to let go of me so He can become more to you.